Welcome to the Sitzmann postgame show. I'm your host, Greg Kadnick, and today I'm joined by Bryce, Usman, Ben, and Mariah. Today we will be discussing the recent performance of the recycling work team at the University of Colorado, Denver. Their goal was to reduce household trash consumption by 50% over a 4-week period by utilizing a recycling program. We will analyze both the performance of the actual recycling as well as the performance of the management and cohesiveness of the team. So let's get started. So Ben, here's the question. Did they complete their goal?
Did they get to 50%? No, they didn't get to 50%. They got to 43%. But on the track that they were at, if you look from week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, they're constantly improving. So throughout maybe an 8-week span or 16-week span,
What do you mean they reached their goal? What do you
50%.
mean that the project was a success? 50% was the goal. They barely got to 43. And also you say that they would have reached their goal if the project continued longer, but come on now, 43% to 50% is never going to happen. They could have had 50 years and they still wouldn't have got there.
So it appeared the team had a self-managed composition or foundation. So Usman, do you think that this foundation worked well for the team?
I think the team worked great self-managed. They had spreadsheets first off based on Excel, and they just filled those out throughout a weekly basis. And they also communicated pretty well. So they communicated through text, in person every week. So that was a huge key factor that really helped develop positive synergy, because these meetings really helped the team come together. And the whole team overall was very agreeable. They were open.
Come on, Ooze. I mean, self-managed work teams, that means these guys manage themselves. They couldn't even make it to every meeting or enter the data on the spreadsheet, the Google spreadsheet, in time. Man, I think that they didn't even work as a team. They were all individuals in a work group until we went through a storming stage, and that took some outside influence.
So you mentioned storming. That's one of Tuckman's 5 stages of group development, am I correct?
Yes, Greg. Storming can be one of the most important stages that a group goes through. It's where they decide who their leader is and they move into the performing stage. This group didn't even move into that stage till like week 3. Now see, it wasn't until an outside force came and pushed this group through the storming stage into the performing stage that they actually all started showing up for meetings and performing the tasks that were put out to them.
Okay, now I like what you mentioned, Ben, about the storming stage, which is completely true. But something I'd also like to mention is this team had a late team member join them. Kind of into the group, they were already in their norming stage, collecting data, throwing away trash, recycling recyclables. However, this late team member came in, kind of shook them up, and which kind of delayed their storming period. They didn't storm till later. That outside force came in. And then after the storming, though, they really did come together. They started performing. They were a great team after this storming period, which was essential to this team.
Now, concerning the storming stage is typically when we see a leader emerge that will provide direction for the group. Did you feel that this was evident concerning this team?
Well, in order for a team to really be successful and hit the expected results that they're looking for, a leader has to be appointed. And in this team's case, the leader did come about in the storming stage. The team realized that they were lacking structure, and that's when the leader came in to really push them into the performing stage. Without a leader to come about in the storming stage, the team would have never even got to the 43% that they did.
Yes, Mariah, the leader did emerge in the storming stage, and if that didn't happen, then they would still be in the storming stage. So it's great that Greg emerged as a leader, which kind of happened automatically, and it should have happened. Had not Greg emerged, they still would not have a leader and would still be stuck in the storming stage. So having Greg as a leader gave the team structure that it was very much lacking.
So you two mentioned how Greg emerged as the leader. Why? Is there any specific reasons why he emerged as the leader? What made him emerge as the leader to help push the team into the next stage, out of storming and into the performing stage?
I mean, Greg was the leader, you can tell. He ranks high in conscientiousness. He never missed a meeting. He organized most of the meetings. Also, he scored very high in extroversion, actually the highest in the group in extroversion and conscientiousness. And we know that extroversion is something that lends to being a leader when you look at the Big 5 score. We look at the Myers-Briggs, it says everybody was introverted. But Greg, when we look at the Big 5 score, was definitely the most extroverted. Not that anybody else wasn't extroverted. Many of the people in the group were extroverted. He just was the most extroverted and the most conscientious.
Yeah, and not only was Greg the most extroverted out of the group, but Greg also initiated structure, which is a huge thing about leadership. Greg was the first one to enter in the Google Docs. He kind of set up the whole spreadsheet. Greg was also the first person to set up the journal entries. He was the first one to even put a journal entry. So the rest of the teammates kind of followed behind Greg and things like that. Not only was he extroverted and he created structure, but he also really involved consideration, which overall meant that he was considerate of the whole team. He was also considerate of their schedules, when to meet, where to meet, how we're going to really pull this, how the team is really going to pull this whole thing together. Yeah, so the extroversion, the consideration, and the structure, it was all Greg. What else can you ask for?
So now, in order for a leader to be effective at leading, there has to be effective communication. Now, there's practically 3 different ways in which a team can communicate with one another. It can either be chain, wheel, or all-channel communication. And now we go to Bryce, who's in the field for an in-field report.
Hi, Greg. I'm here live in the meeting room where the true synergy is really happening. As you can see, the team is overcoming their early hurdles and building cohesiveness as a team. They are contributing and analyzing data in their spreadsheets and trying to figure out the best way to hit their goals. Their all-channel communication is key. All group members have agreed to be here in this room at 2 p.m. every Wednesday. This face-to-face interaction has really led their work team to a successful plan to reach their ideal recycling percentage. As you can see, really impressive work going on here. Now back to you, Greg.
From what you have told me, it seems like this team has followed all-channel communication. However, all-channel communication typically does not have a leadership role, yet you're telling me that this group or team had a leadership or a leader in control of the group. How do you explain that?
Absolutely, Greg. They were an all-channel communication network. That's what comes with self-managed teams. Everybody's got great ideas. They want to bring these ideas and share them with everybody. The problem that the group was having, though, is it caused a jumble of communication and missing cohesiveness. The team did not gel until a leader emerged. So even though this leader emerges informally in this chaotic, everybody's got great ideas kind of thing, it still made them successful, and they still needed a leader to emerge in order to organize the time, the deadlines, and all those other things that come with having a cohesive team that's all on the same page.
You know what, you're completely right, Ben, because before the leader came along to really ease the chaos of this team, people were throwing out ideas, the meetings were crazy, no one could even get a word in, it was screaming, shouting, just crazy. So thank God the leader did come along when he did, because this team was just a little chaotic. There was a lot of communication, and so yeah, the leader really came along just to kind of give the communication the structure it needed.
So now, all things considered, we've discussed the project itself, the recyclables. Was it successful? Was it not successful? What about the team processes, the actual team? What was successful or unsuccessful about the team, and what can the individuals in the team take with them in the future?
I think the team overall did great. There were some pitfalls that they did have. They didn't have a leader and stuff like that. So now they learned a lot of stuff that they didn't know before, how to develop someone to become a leader and how to choose a leader and how the whole process works. And with these things in mind, I think next time there will be an even better team. So these things are just going to help them become a better team, and having this experience is something that is invaluable.
Yes, Sitzmann, you're completely right. This team did fall into a little bit of pitfalls, which is inevitable. Like, there's no way this team was going to get through without that. But the main thing is that this team really pulled it together overall. They really did what they were planning on doing. The team actually recycled, which some of them never did before, which is the hugest thing. So, I mean, the team is just going to take a numerous amount of things with them throughout the life. These players really evolve.
You both make great points. This is a well put together team. Yeah, they had to go through some adversity, but what team doesn't? Great teams go through adversity. We all know that. We see that every Sunday. This is a great team moving forward. There isn't anything these guys can't do. I mean, you got the cheat sheet here with the Myers-Briggs and you know what I'm talking about. So these guys are great. They're going to do big things. There's nothing they can't do.